Welcome back. This is my second walk and talk video, and today is a bit of a strange day. In fact, it's a very strange day. Now, I appreciate I'm not a YouTuber, and it's all about getting the hook and getting you hooked into the video as soon as I can. But actually, if you're only here to watch the Knack tutorial, you might want to skip my ramblings, because last night I connected with the highly capable individual, Mr. Stephen Chapman, who is a Knack developer in Sydney in Australia, and obviously I'm in the UK, so it was like 9 PM last night for me on a Monday, and weirdly 8 AM for him on Tuesday morning. And he very kindly spent some time with me, which actually turned out to be about nearly an hour, but we only recorded the 30 minutes of him showing his amazing new tool, which is called Knack Finder. So if you want to just jump to that, then I'll put a link up here so you can jump to that video. If not, please then do stay with me while I try and cohesively put together my thoughts. And the reason I say that is for those people of a certain generation, specifically Generation X, you'll probably remember the now deceased Ronnie Corbett, famously of the Two Ronnies, and there was a section that he used to do which I used to really love as a child, even now I still find him really humorous, which was this rambling monologue to the camera, sitting in this very 70s retro armchair, and he would just meander around the conversation and eventually come back to the actual joke. But I always loved that kind of meandering conversation. And this part of my channel now, because I've never really been on YouTube, only doing my tutorials, is an opportunity for me to try and play back some of my thoughts and feelings throughout the period of my life. Now, today hasn't planned out as I thought it would just a short couple of months ago. And the reason that I say that is that, probably like most of you, if you're watching this today, it's not going to be Tuesday the 6th of January. Today is Tuesday the 6th of January, but I won't get this edited and out. I'm not on a deadline, so you'll probably be watching this at some other point. However, Tuesday the 6th of January would normally be a work day. In fact, mostly everybody was back to work yesterday on Monday the 5th. Back to the grind, back to the work. But for me and my sister, that wasn't the case. For me today, I was sitting and contemplating creating my eulogy for my mother, who passed away on the 30th of December. Now, if you watched my previous video, you'll know that that was recorded on New Year's Day, just 2 days after my mother passed away, and I couldn't bring myself to talk about it. So it's only been a few days, and just before I came out, I created the order of service. Now, if you've gone through a funeral, which I have, my father passed away 9 years ago at the age of 84, and my mum, who would have been 89 on the 11th of this month, passed away at the age of 88. So a really good long innings. But because we moved from where we were originally born and bred, you probably can't tell because I tried very hard to lose my Essex accent, but I'm an Essex boy, and I'm from Essex. And if you are familiar with what an Essex boy is, you'll be aware that I never had a Ford Capri. I always really wanted a Ford Capri, but I ended up with a Mark I Ford Escort. It was actually chocolate brown, hand painted, not by me, but it was, yeah, that was my first car. But ironically, inside it was banana yellow. So someone had hand painted it chocolate brown. It was pretty awful. But I'll talk about that in another video. Anyway, so Mum was fine 2 months ago. She's suffered from lots of health issues like people do of a certain age, but she was still bimbling around, making a coffee and watching TV, doing a Sudoku, doing some crocheting and all the usual stuff that older ladies do, I suppose. And then one day she said that she just felt really unwell, and she went to bed, and I gave her some paracetamol, and I'd come over. A slight segue, I recently split up with my partner after 7 years, and my sister and mum very kindly took me in. Once again, separate conversation. But I happened to be at the house with my mum and my sister when my mum was taken ill, and we didn't really realise what was wrong, but it was a heart attack, we later found out. From there she rapidly declined, and we went into hospital. She was in hospital for about a week, and they managed to stabilise her heart and kidney function, because she was also having kidney failure. So she was on various medication and fluids, and they stabilised her, but just physically she went downhill so fast, and they were trying to discharge her back to our care. And obviously me and my sister aren't medically qualified or nursing qualified, and my sister fought incredibly hard. I full credit to my sister. She really fought tooth and nail to get my mum into a re-enablement facility, which is really designed to get people re-enabled and get them back home and back working again. Not working, but back to life. And it was pretty obvious that my mum was coming to the end, and she faded away. She faded away pretty quick, and yeah, it wasn't a shock. Well, it was a shock, but it wasn't a surprise. She had a long life. But because we're new to the area, and Mum's lived so long, she's pretty much outlived everybody that she ever knew. She's the longest lived person in our family's history. So there's just a handful of us going to the funeral, which is 2 weeks today. And we went to the funeral place and went through all the costs and sorting all that stuff out, and they said about the order of service, and what do you want to do about the order of service? And the minimum order, I think, was like 20 handouts. And I'm like, it's not going to be 20 of us. And it was £100. Now, I'm not destitute, but I thought that didn't seem like great value. So I said, I'll do it. I can do it. I've got the skills. I can, IT whiz kid. I can do it. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing this morning. Creating the order of service. So yeah, today has not worked out the day that I thought it would be. But as the great Mike Tyson once said, everyone has a plan until they're punched in the face. And life's constantly changing. I apologise, this video really hasn't got a message. I've got about 12 other subjects that I've written down of things that I want to talk about, kind of the Generation X bridge between analog and digital, and life and work balance and money and having enough, and lots of different kind of life philosophies that really resonate with me. But at the moment I'm dealing with grief and change. Not only from change from my mum passing away, but kind of self-inflicted change that I ended a relationship last October. I used to live, for those that know the UK, I used to live in West Berkshire. I now reside with my sister in Ipswich, and looks like I'm going to be living here permanently now that Mum's moved on. It's actually very symbiotic that me and my sister can end up living together and supporting each other. And while I think of it, I remember as a child, I used to live in Romford, and we lived in a very standard 3-bed terraced house, and next door were two ladies, probably only in their 50s or 60s, called Nellie and Mary. And I was probably 7, 8, 9, 10, just a kid. Didn't really think about it being odd that two women lived together back in the early mid-1970s. I mean, in those days, Morecambe and Wise used to do comedy sketches sleeping in the same bed, so didn't cross my mind. But I remember at one point asking my mum, what's the story with Nell and Mary? And she said, oh, they're sisters. I'm like, so how did that happen? Why are they living together? And she said, well, they were both married, and then their husbands passed away, so they decided to live together. And I thought, oh, that's a good thing to do, I suppose. And then a few years later, a bloke moved in called Harry. I'm like, wow, which one's got Harry? And so lots of controversy in the road. And my mum said, oh no, Harry, it turns out it's their brother. His wife passed away. So towards the probably late 50s, early 60s, which is exactly where I am at, 59 this year, the three siblings ended up living together. Now my sister was pretty terrible to me when I was a kid. She used to beat me up, and she hated on me really, because she's 6.5 years older than me. So for the first 6.5 years of her life, she exclusively had my parents' attention. And then I came along. I was a blue-eyed, blonde-haired, not blonde-haired anymore, blue-eyed, blonde-haired little boy, and suddenly the spotlight wasn't on my sister anymore. And she took it out on me for years until I was old enough to be able to fight back. And how ironic now that we're living together. So you never know. She has been married and divorced twice. I've been married and divorced twice. And we've ended up almost back to where we started. But it's good. It's a lovely day. As you can probably tell, we had a little bit of snow here in Ipswich. I'm on the golf course. I'm not a golfer, but I'm on the golf course. I'm the only one on the golf course. And it's freezing. It's about -5. And this is the heat of the day. It's just midday. The sun is at its highest as anything. And that's it. So if you're still with me, apologise for the ramblings. As I mentioned before, this isn't about, trying to maximise my channel. I'm using this as a video diary. There's lots of more change coming up, lots of other things that I want to say and want to do, and I want to document them, not for history or historical reasons, because I don't have children, but really as a kind of cathartic measure, just to get these things out of my head and try and make sense of it all. So that's it. Yes, if you're still with me, thank you very much. Give us a like. It does give me a bit of encouragement to keep rambling on. If you've got any comments, I had a great comment from a lady called Lindsay the other day, yesterday in fact, and she actually subscribed to the channel, my Knack channel, and said, I've no idea what your channel's all about, but I liked your honesty, and I like listening to your video. So she put a comment on. So if any of this resonates with you, if you've got similar situations, anything you'd like to say, I really do enjoy it. I've never really had comments on my Knack videos, because that's such a super niche subject. But this might strike a chord with people that are that sandwich generation, where you're sandwiched between children, which I don't have, but my sister does, and elderly parents that you're also looking after for. But unfortunately, even that's not a thing now. So we are no longer a sandwich generation. I suppose we're like an open sandwich now, I suppose. I'm not quite sure what that would be. Anyway, if you got to the end, appreciate it. Subscribe if you like, and I'll put another link, I think, if I can do that, to Stephen Chapman's video for a bit of a jump in and chat about some Knack stuff. And I'll catch up with you very soon. Oh yeah, don't forget, the theme of the channel is I'm not done yet, which I'm not. Cheers.